Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Thinking Habit. Today I wanted to try out something a little different with you guys. I wanted to go over a couple things that I have recently come to reading. I'm going through this book at this moment, which is by Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I love dearly. I've been listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza for a very long time now, but there was a page in this book that I wanted to talk about, so that's what we're going to do today. Basically, what I want to talk about is how our emotions keep us trapped in the past. So, if you've ever noticed how small an irritation in the morning can be, it could be something like you order a coffee and they get it wrong. And somehow that little thing that happens to you in the morning ruins your entire day. And you tell yourself, yeah, it's fine. I'm going to get over it. But by noon, you're still annoyed. Your mood has shifted and you can't even explain why. And that's not bad luck at all. That's literally conditioning. So today we're going to go over how that gets developed through repetition and emotion, and how it trains your body to live in the past, and what it takes to finally break that cycle. So here's what happens. Your brain learns by repetition and by association. That means that the more often you react to something emotionally, the more your body memorizes that reaction. And it doesn't take a major trauma to do this. Sometimes it could be the tiniest little trigger that trains your body to become the mind. Like I said, it could be the wrong coffee order, it could be traffic. It could be somebody cutting you off when you're driving to work. But each time you react with frustration, your body gets a hit of those chemicals, which are cortisol and adrenaline. And over time, your body starts to crave those stress chemicals. And you think that you're just annoyed. You think that your body has learned that familiar state, but that's how you start living in the past emotionally. And it's because your body is repeating yesterday's reactions while your mind, we're talking about your conscious mind, pretends to live in the present. So how do we shift from emotion to mood, and how this becomes a chemical trap? So we're going to break it down step by step. So you will have an emotion, maybe irritation or disappointment. That emotion triggers chemicals in your body. Like I said, it could be cortisol, it could be adrenaline. And normally, if you let that pass, those chemicals will dissipate within a couple seconds or a couple minutes. But if you keep thinking about it, if you keep stewing on what happened to you, you keep replaying the story, you keep complaining about it, or you just silently are holding on to the event in your mind without saying anything, you are extending the lifespan of that chemical reaction. And Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this the refractory period, the time it takes for those emotional chemicals to wear off. If your refractory period is lasting hours to days, then you've entered into a mood. And that's when someone will ask you, hey, are you okay? And you will be like, nah, I'm just in a bad mood. But you're not. You are in a prolonged emotional state, and your body is it's literally bathing, it's stewing in the chemistry of the past event. And so how do we change that, right? Because it happens to the best of us. You know, if you have no awareness of your emotions, this could turn into a bad habit. You don't want to continue in that habit because it is a bad habit. So you go from a mood. The next part would be like moving from a mood, and then it goes and turns into a temperament, and that becomes the habit of the emotion. So when your mood stretches into weeks or months, okay, that becomes a temperament. Now, you've repeated the emotional pattern long enough that your brain is wiring it as normal. You start developing a tendency to express the same emotional tone. Maybe it's just irritability, you're defensive all the time. It could be sadness, even when nothing is wrong in your life. And that's because your subconscious has learned the habit of reacting that way. You have literally trained your nervous system to fire in that emotional direction automatically. You're no longer responding to life. You're replaying a chemical past. And if that goes on long enough, that temperament hardens into something deeper. And so after that, you've been in this temperament, like say anger, you've been angry for months now. And so it goes from temperament to personality, and that becomes your emotional identity. So eventually, that emotional pattern is going to become a personality trait of yours. Now, people might describe you as the angry person, the bitter person, the cold person, or judgmental. And they're not wrong, but they're not seeing your truth either. They're only seeing your conditioning. Your personality has become a record of your emotional history. Who you think you are is just who you've been. It's a set of memorized feelings, and it's not a fixed identity. And that's the real trap. Personality, as most people live it, is the past disguised as the present. Your I am statements, like saying I am shy, I am impatient, I'm always stressed, etc., these are often just emotional residues that you have not cleared out. And so, how do we break this loop? Which is what everybody wants. Everybody wants to break this loop of being themselves. So, how do you stop living in the past when your body's addicted to it? And so, you have to move from reacting to developing awareness. Okay, that is the key. You stop reacting and you develop awareness. And so, the first thing would be to notice your triggers. Every emotional loop begins with a trigger. It could be a thought. You're just minding your own business, and then your mind's like, here's this thought, this negative thought, this thought, right? It could be a comment that somebody else says. It could be a delay somewhere. It could be even a disappointment, but something gives you the trigger. The moment you feel the charge rise in you, that could be you're going to feel the irritation, that tightening in your chest. You're going to have to learn to pause, right? And you're going to label it. This is the body remembering. You have to interrupt that chemical pattern. And you're going to know when it happens because you're going to feel your emotions change. And so when you feel it, you breathe. You breathe deeply. Most importantly, you breathe slowly. Long exhale tells your nervous system that it is safe. The breath is your tool to interrupt the automatic chemical loop. You gotta refocus your attention, okay? You have to bring focus back. You do not feed the emotion with your own mental stories, okay? You have to shift your awareness back into the present. The sensations in your body, the air in the room, the sound around you, anything that brings your mind, that brings your awareness, your conscious mind back into the present. The present moment is the only place where you can rewire the past. And you can start by rehearsing a new emotional state. You start practicing elevated emotions on purpose. You start practicing gratitude, love, joy, and you don't need any external reasons to start practicing this. Okay, this will shift you into another state of being. Have gratitude for everything in your life. Feel joy just for waking up in the morning. Have love. Put love into everything you do. These emotions will bring you into a new state of being. Okay, being bitter, being frustrated, being angry, being upset, that just keeps you in the past. You don't want that. You want to move forward. Okay, and the only place that you're going to move forward is by staying present, by not allowing your body to change its state. You have to become aware of what's going on and you have to stay present. Okay, so you're rehearsing these new emotional states. You start practicing elevated emotions on purpose. And remember, the last step is that repetition is reprogramming. Repetition is key. So you can do this like a ritual. Every morning you wake up, I am so grateful. I am so joyous that I got to wake up today. I'm ecstatic. I'm so full of gratitude that I get to wake up in the morning. I mean, just that initial change will change your state of being. Instead of, waking up, as soon as you open your eyes, you're like already, your heart's already pounding because you're living in the past. You've got the emotions of what happened to you yesterday. And when you wake up, they're there with you. But if you wake up and you're like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to have these emotions, like kick rocks. Okay. I have gratitude. I have joy. I have love. I have happiness. I am all these things. I am excited for whatever today is going to bring to me because I am grateful. And that totally puts you in a whole nother state of being. It is life changing. It'll take you about 21 days to break that habit. But after 21 days of doing this every morning, you will shift your state of being. If you keep reliving the same emotions, you will keep recreating the same old life. Okay? Your body will keep dragging your mind back into yesterday, back into the past, back into wherever these imprints happened in your life. Whenever we have experiences that come to us and we have a very high emotional charge happen, when these things happen, it imprints in your memory. And so the next time you think about the memory comes with all the negative emotions. And that's what keeps us in the past. We don't want to do that. The moment you choose to have awareness, the moment you stop letting emotions define you, you begin to rewire your chemistry. You begin to rewire your personality and you begin to change your destiny. Okay? You are not your reactions, you are the awareness behind them. And when you start mastering your inner state, the outer world rearranges itself to match that. And that's how you stop living from the past and you start creating the present. And when you start creating the present and you change the present, that changes your future. Okay? It's that simple. I know it might seem hard for some of you to do it, but honestly, it's that simple. You want to change your life, you got to start taking accountability of your reactions, of your emotional state, and most importantly, of your thoughts. You are what you think about most of the time. Okay. Your thoughts are creating your reality. Okay. And the thoughts you had yesterday are the ones that are creating today. And the thoughts you have today are the ones that are creating tomorrow. Okay. And that's how we break these patterns. I totally recommend reading this book. It is such an amazing book, life changing. And if you've never heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's on YouTube and you can watch all of his videos. I mean, they're everywhere. He's an amazing doctor that has done amazing research on how the mind and body connection works. Again, my name is Beida, and thank you for joining us here at The Thinking Habit. I will continue creating more content that helps people. I hope that somebody out there can see my video and do something, even if you just take one little itty bitty thing from this video. And if it helps you change your life, then my mission's done. Stay blessed, stay grateful, and stay happy. Take care.